The Africa story for us sort of got two parts to it before you get to. It's first, I think, what we call secular growth. The countries where you've got 10% of population having bank accounts. Yes, banks have a lot of growth just from, whether the economy shrinks 20% or not, just from actually banking people and processing people. The country where you've got electricity on the grid only available for 6 hours, moving that up from, so they're basically just the inefficiencies of just things that are they're just simple basic stuff of just making what every human being should have available for them, in which people providing them make money just by providing supply of those things. I think there's a fundamental sort of, growth in the economy, putting aside whether the oil price goes from X to Y or gold price goes from A to B and so on and so forth. So there's some fundamental growth which I think drives many African countries, irrespective of what happens to commodity prices and what happens to the global cycle. And what I think that means though is that, rather than growing the 7, 8, 9% a year, you probably have a sort of, a lower growth rate as a result of those things. But I think there's just strong secular growth underpinning the economies of many of these countries. I'll put aside South Africa because South Africa is a bit more developed.
It would not surprise me if we see some impact of youth involvement in other parts of Africa. By youth involvement, I'm not necessarily referring to an Arab Spring. I think all of the significant African countries were far more advanced democratically in my mind than most of the North African countries. So I'm not necessarily referring to an Arab Spring, but I am referring to young people looking for a voice.
Do have a certain critical mass. And when I look at the cyclicality of emerging markets as they grow, and I'm sure Africa will have its big hit, as my colleague said here, you saw it in Asia in the late 90s, you saw it in Russia as well. But I think what happens is, what gives me hope this time around is that it's not just us, it's not just the structural changes, as Kofi said, it's not just the latent wealth that the continent has, as Baba says, and as Miles Morland actually writes very eloquently about, but it's the engagements of these outsiders, and it gives me a sense that even if we take a hit, as for example Asia took a dramatic hit in the 90s, Korea nearly went bust, so as Russia took a dramatic hit in 2000 where it did go bust, even if we do take a reversal, these underlying factors mean that we'll pick ourselves up faster and get back to our normal run rate faster.
So we are seeing innovations which I hope bring the agricultural sector into the market, and that will be it is the largest employer, and that's where the jobs are largely going to have to come from.